Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived for rounds 5 and 6 here in the ARC Supercars Championship. Qualifying has literally just begun, barring me being late on the draw with starting the stream up. And, yeah. Laguna Seca brings us the third week of Supercars action. There's somebody that's way up ahead there. I don't know who that is. We have a slightly bigger grid. 9 cars running, at least at the moment. Oh, and the car at the front of the field is the one that's making his Project Cars 2 debut, fittingly, in the V8 Supercars Championship. Red one, I think it's Hamza. I think it'd be pronounced that way, at least by an American. Making his first start in an ARC Project Cars 2 event. Seems fitting he would do so in the Australian machinery. You know, he himself is Aussie. And he is known for being incredibly good at GT7. But this is not that game. So, a bit of growing pains probably early on for him. And the V8 Supercar is not exactly the easiest thing to get into the game with either. Normally, if you're learning how to play this game, I would suggest something like a GT3 or even better yet, GT4. Also, Ridwan's already been hit with a grid penalty for a pit lane violation. Probably not used to having to drive the car out of the pits himself, as GT7 does that for you. This will be interesting as AJ Knickel is on his hot lap right behind the Australian driver, and Ridwan, he might be in the way a little bit here as we head through the final sector. Well, until he gets intentionally out of the way, and then he no longer is. AJ Knickel a little wide at the third to last turn, but it's nothing world-ending per se. Into the final turn, out of the final turn. Yep, that's how corners work. And the first lap posted this session will be a 21.3 from AJ Knickel. I've been hearing talks of 20 lap times as Ramirez run just a tenth off, just shy of even 21.4, and Dylan Bam tops them both with 21.19. And then Gabe Gazzola the 23.8. And I think that's an outlap from Luke Allen. Either that or he spun. One change that's been made recently to try and promote some bigger grids, so we don't have a repeat of last week with the grand total of 7 competitors. Svitol Fabian runs a 23.4, and then apparently just gets all the way off the circuit. Oh, big moment for AJ Knickel, wide at the kink. Very easy to do that in this car especially, and nearly lost the whole car. And you think he's backing out of any lap he could have possibly been on. Dylan Bam is still attacking. I think he just got thrown off about as much as I was by that spun car there. I don't know who that was. Was that Ridwan? I couldn't tell you. No, it's not, because their car is still there. Oh, does no, it's not Matthew Daly. Who is this mystery fool? Was it Dylan? I think it was actually Dylan Bam that spun there. I couldn't tell. The camera really wouldn't look directly at his car. I think it had to have been, though, because otherwise he would have finished this lap a long time. Yeah. It was him that spun out. AJ Knickel finding nearly half a second on the racetrack at the moment. And we're right on board with him as he makes his way through the second half of the lap. Oh, has to cook the inside curb. Yep, hook the inside curb. just to make the kink at that amount of speed, but he's up 8 tenths, and he about gets it low down for the corkscrew, but it is very, very on edge. And by on edge, I mean almost off the track entirely. One change that was... Actually, I'm just going to finish off qualifying. I'll get to that in a minute. Oh, final turn, nearly missing that completely as well. Using a little bit of extra racetrack, too, on the exit. But a 20.5 is the reward for all of that aggression that AJ just put into that lap. And Luis Ramirez nearly tops it immediately with a 20.57. Luke Allen threads the needle. He finds a 21.9. That is quite a lap from a driver who has been very midfield so far in this season, has Luke Allen. This is certainly certainly not a NASCAR for him. He's not quite as proficient here. He's never been bottom few except for, like, the few times he was. Oh, he's about to be in the sand. Matthew Daly, though, he does dethrone Luke Allen for P4, 21.4. This is oddly close qualifying, considering the skill gap we've seen in recent weeks. Just in general, really. Seems Ridwan has, he has been disqualified for a pit lane violation. I thought you just straight up left for a second, and I was like, where the heck is he? No, he got DQ'd somewhere along the way. He must have either just completely sped in or he spun on the way out of the pits before he'd even crossed the exit line. Let's see, who is where on the circuit? I think DIVEBOMB is about to come across to finish an outlap. So everybody's going to be getting near their final runs in a minute here. And AJ is just not leaving the pits, so I think he'll probably be the last person to finish the lap in about 3 minutes from now. DIVEBOMB will cross. That was, in fact, an outlap, so he will be on his way. As we sort of take a bit of an explanation of the circuit, because it is very different in this car compared to others. Still take turn 1 about the same, and turn 2, kind of. Your choice on gear selection. Turn 3, though, is a tightrope. You can't hit either curb or you're off the track. In spite of that, DIVEBOMB makes a liar out of me, hits the outside curb, and doesn't go off the track. Here, you just brake wherever you darn well feel like. The car bites on entry a lot better than GT3s for that particular corner. Here, good luck. Those shadows are painful, especially on the PS5. DIVEBOMB nearly finds that out the hard way and has to catch the car, but he keeps it on the road. Up to the corkscrew. That is always a difficult braking zone. Getting down the hill in this car is not too hard. Just getting this tank stopped, that's difficult. 100 miles per through the long left-hander. I can't even fathom. Onto the brakes for the last turn of the lap. And so again, it's pretty much brake wherever you feel like, because the car will get itself slowed down pretty easily. And that is exactly what we expect, a 20.0, nearly a 19 from DIVEBOMB. And I think that's probably just about sent everybody else into hysterics, probably. If I were in the game chat right now, I'm sure there's probably at least one person asking, how in the world Dylan just did that? He is a miracle worker when it comes to singular lap speeds. So he was going to be the first to finish their run. It will be Gabe Cazola sliding uncontrollably. He won't even make it to the start-finish line before abandoning that effort. Who is that in the penultimate turn? Is AJ Kaneko. He will be next to make his final attempt at taking pole away from Dylan. He has to find literally half a second to get anywhere near that 20.05. We'll see if he's found that somehow. He finds 2.5. He doesn't find it all, though. So 20.3 will maybe help to secure the front row. but it is not enough to defeat Dylan Bam. But other cars are still on the track. Dylan Bam, yeah, never mind. Okay, yep, pack it in, folks. A 19.5 for Dylan Bam. Luis Ramirez finds 0 improvement. And Fidel Fabian will head across the start-finish line to end today's qualifying session. And did he even improve? He did. He jumped Gabe Gazzola with a 22.3. And then Ridwan, having been disqualified with a flag that I don't think is correct. He's from Australia, so unless that's some, like, specific flag for, like, a part of Australia, I don't think that is, like, it. One thing that I was going to mention earlier and just decided to wait until we were in the pre-race screen to mention it. One change that has been made to try and get bigger car counts for Project Cars series is the introduction of basically what I tend to call a personalized default setup. You can race whatever setup you want, as far as I know, but there will sort of be like basically, I think it's Dylan and Luis are going to be mainly working on the setup that is shared to every driver. Sort of a base setup, kind of like those iRacing leagues that use fixed setups made by another person. In this case, though, they are optional. If you found something faster, if you don't like the handling of the given setup, you don't have to use it, but they're meant to be pretty fast, and is meant to make the race a little more competitive, and ideally make it seem more enticing to try and challenge the greats of the series. Because I'm sure most people down there right now will tell you that it's pretty hard to even feel like you can compete with the likes of Dylan and AJ, and on a really good day, Luis or even Jurgensmeyer, even though the V8 Supercar really hasn't suited his driving style all that well. But he was one of the top guys in IndyCar, and he was darn good at GT3s as well, so I guess V8 Supercar has just kind of been a bit of an off series for him. And we have the deceitful three red lights here, but as ever, we are just taking a formation lap to negate the nonsense of what's it called? Of automatic versus manual gears at race starts. And so with that, I run down of the starting order. Even though we already kind of just had that, it's a lot easier to do with 9 cars than with a full grid. Dylan Bam takes yet another pole position. We're going to start calling him the Rocket Man at this rate. AJ Knickel joins him on the front row. Dylan's teammate Luis Ramirez starts in 3rd, and AJ's teammate Matthew Daly starts in 4th. These are definitely the big 4 V8 supercars, kind of starting to feel like an F1 season with, like, you know, you have, like, the big constructors rivalries of our era, like, you know, Mercedes versus Red Bull versus Ferrari, etc. Now we just got 44R versus Champ Inc. And these 4 have been the class of the field thus far, so it makes sense they're on the same teams. Luke Allen starts 5th, Jurgensmeyer 6th, Fidel Fabian 7th, Gabe Gazzola 8th, and debuting Ridwan Hamza starts in last. Probably more or less just looking to get track time, as NASCAR would say, build that notebook. As at the moment he's going to look something like a bit of a lost bird. He's out of his element. This game handles very differently from GT7 in a lot of ways, and it's a bit of a learning curve for good measure. I'm sure you probably didn't need me to tell you that. I was going to look up the points, but I forgot that a formation lap at Laguna Seca isn't really going to take that long, so we shall do that probably when there's a bit of downtime, if there's a bit of downtime in the racing action here. The field has doubled up. Only one more hairpin to make before we go green from Laguna Seca. Dylan Bam can floor it whenever he wants. And AJ is kind of going somewhere. I don't really know what that was, but Dylan Bam has floored it, and we are green from Laguna Seca. The sprint round was supposed to be 12 laps, but I think there was a mistake that was made, so I guess it'll only be 11 laps. I think I just saw a braking board get launched in the corner of the screen. Luis gets to second off the green flag. Excuse me, I can get the button for that one. And Matthew Daly loses out to Luke Allen on the start. Some places are definitely switching hands. Fidel Fabian has a good start. He's up to P6 off the line, starting 8th. Excuse me again. I'm suddenly gassy the second I have to commentate a race start. Not ideal. AJ Knickel got back ahead of Ramirez while I was looking in the back of the field. I don't really know how he could have managed that through those corners, unless Ramirez just straight up missed a turn. Everybody just about feeding through the corkscrew, except for Gabe Cazola going a little bit off the circuit. And that lets Jurgensmeyer slip right on through the cracks. One lap in the books, and Dylan Bam already has over a second and a half, possibly even more than that after AJ gets a very unkempt exit from the final turn. Yeah, 1.7 in hand as we head back to Andretti Hairpin. Field's already looking a little bit spread out, but this track has a way of bringing people back together as Ramirez takes AJ around the outside of 2. And you don't usually have the downforce for that in these cars. I'll keep it on the track, just about did, but AJ Knickel is going to come right back at him, possibly into the next turn. He will not. I think he had the better run, but he just, I don't know, he probably didn't take it. And you don't dare take any run into this corner, unless your name is... Never mind, he was backing out. Oh, Luke Allen is off the track, though. He doesn't need a good run. And that rejoin has left Fidel Fabian completely out of place. As, yeah, Luke Allen merging back onto the circuit forced Fidel to take evasive action. That gives Jurgensmeyer a free position. I don't think Fidel will be too happy about the way that rejoin was performed. And now Gabe Cazola gets ahead of Fidel. And just like that, all of the effort from that good start that Fabian had now down the drain as he's back to 7th, fighting to stay in 7th with the person that put him back here indirectly. He'll get the better run off, though, and I think he will stay in 7th for this exact moment anyway. Luis versus AJ, the battle continues for another lap. Ramirez tries to keep his bumper on the outside lane, but he's unable. Allen versus Fabian once again into turn 2, and Allen just can't really do much there. On the wrong lane at the wrong turn to make an overtake. Good exit from 3, though. Can he convert that into a pass at 5? No, he will certainly try, but Fidel brakes just late enough to stave off the LA7 driver. It was very weird on the brakes there. Are we under safety car? No. I think AJ was... Maybe they were both slowing down for race control. The kink is liable to do that. That's what I'm going to go ahead and assume was the case there. And that has brought Matthew Daly into this fight for 2nd place. It is now a 3-car battle. Ramirez finds himself in a 44R sandwich at the moment. But in motorsport, numbers are not everything. Oh, very squirrely is Ramirez into turn 2. I'm surprised the car didn't just get away on him there. With how wiry these things are. I think Ramirez... Its top 3 is staying about equal distance apart at the moment. AJ is starting to make some space, though. A really good final turn. That's going to give him more leeway versus Luis, especially... Oh, never mind. I thought he was going to completely miss Andretti hairpin there. No, he made it. I think it was probably his latency that just made it look funny. Oh, we didn't need those anyway. Yeah, that was lag that took those out too. Hopefully people didn't need them. Track limits are very, very harsh here. Half the field's got a time penalty, and we're only halfway through the sprint round. How many of those are actually legitimate is always a bit of a question worth asking when it comes to that, but at least as far as current appearances go, yeah, not great. I think Ramirez probably got another one there. I have to expect. I know we just watched AJ get one. That's why Luis has closed back in on him so much. Because I think AJ was probably at half throttle down the Rahal straight, or I should say up the Rahal straight. While the top three, second through fourth remain kind of near each other, but not. Gabe Cazola is catching up to the back of Jurgensmeyer for P5. Little by little, chipping away at the deficit. As also somewhere off screen, Fidel Fabian made an error and fell to 8th. As the Cupid Shuffle Mobile makes his way through Andretti hairpin. Suppose now is that break in the action I was looking for to go over points. Dylan Bam is pretty much doing... I mentioned the big four. Those are indeed the top four in points. The only one that's really close to them right now is Jurgensmeyer, 5th in points. At 283, Dylan Bam is definitely leading points. There's no disputing him at the moment. And with this race seemingly being his to lose at the moment, that lead is only going to grow further. AJ is next in line, but 17 back from him. Another 15 back from AJ is Luis Ramirez, and then another 18 back from him is Matthew Daly. So this race is doing absolutely nothing to shake up the order, because the top 5 in points are top 5 in the race, in that order. Jurg's at 231, only 2 off Matthew Daly. But that doesn't matter unless he catches him somehow. He did recently pass Gabe Cazola, who is now spun out at the exit of the final turn. But he manages to get going before Luke Allen appears and has to react. I don't know about you, I think Ridwan may be getting lapped in the future. He'll just about escape, I think, in the sprint here. But he will definitely be getting put a lap down in the future, the way things are going. Gabe's mistake means that Luke Allen has a potential chance to get into 6th place on track. And the laps are slowly ticking down here, so everyone just might be just a case of everybody just trying to get it to the finish. Yeah, definitely a bit of a dull roar in the moment, or in the race here at this moment. We do have Jurg having made a mistake. I'd take a second to process what I was looking at. No, yeah, that's Jurg back behind Luke Allen. And what did I miss when I was looking at the Matthew Daly catching for 3rd? Which he isn't even doing now. He's fallen off the back of Ramirez. I obviously missed something. A lot of things. Yeah, as for points, I mean, I already mentioned, like, the big five. Although, you know, obviously that's sort of changed. Juergensmeyer is back behind Luke Allen. Everybody in the bottom five has made some big mistake or another, but nobody in the top four really has. That's just about as clear a divide as you can get, but Juergensmeyer, make no mistake, is right back to the back of Luke Allen. He's going to try and get his 5th position back against him. Luke defends on corner exit, which is certainly a strategy of all time. I don't really know if that's the one I would have used, per se. How late does Luke go on the brakes at Andretti Hairpin? Not very late. In fact, Juerg goes later on them. But he doesn't have the ideal racing lines, so he cannot get it done just here. As we head to the inner part of the circuit, there's really not much doing here. Good run from 3. Juerg will try to convert, but he is forced to accept. I think he just gave a little bit of contact to Luke Allen, or he just went wide on exit. This can only end perfectly well. Too wide into the kink, and Allen is forced to concede or die, just about. Too wide through there is a death sentence, all but. Oh, nearly gives him the bumper at the corkscrew. That would have been quite a sight for a mere 5th place. I think Juerg will now just proceed to drive off with 5th, unless he makes another big error. 2 laps to go for him, as well as everyone else, effectively. And in fact, Ridwan did not escape the sprint race without being lapped down. Without being put a lap down. Luke is still there. He's not really that close to him anymore, but he is still nearby. Maybe just existing near Juergensmeyer might be enough to get him to make a mistake, but I kind of doubt that. Seems like a very wishful way of thinking. Any of you guys have those days where you get plenty of sleep, but you get up and just never feel like you actually woke up? That is me right now. I never feel... Oh, Luis Ramirez, that'll wake you up. Ramirez has made some mistake. He has fallen behind Matthew Daly. A shake-up in the top 4 as the first one amongst them makes a mistake on the whole weekend thus far. And that might cost him as we're on to the final lap. Ramirez is going to not have a whole lot of time to grab that back from him. There is also still a fight on for 5th, but I feel like the fight for the podium is probably a little more pivotal. No surprises there. Nothing into what I believe is turn 5. Up towards the kink and onto the Rahal straight. It's going to have to be the corkscrew, I think, for Ramirez, unless he goes for a bit of a... Unless he goes for a 2007 IMSA maneuver and just sends Matthew into the final hairpin, because he's not close enough at the corkscrew. He does not have the braking for that. Did AJ Kaneko make a mistake? Oh no, he's just stuck behind Ridwan. Dylan Bam is going to take an unprecedented, not really, victory. There wasn't even resistance for him there. Final hairpin, Ridwan out of the way. Luis is close enough. They make big contact at the apex and on the exit. Ramirez forces him onto the curb, and that reduces his acceleration. And Ramirez is going to get back to 3rd with a little bit of, well, a very V8 Supercars overtake. These are basically just faster touring cars, so contact is not unheard of. Just don't be surprised if Matthew gives it back later, within reason. Luke is sideways, So Jurg's going to get 5th, but Gabe will steal 6th as Luke Allen loses it on corner exit. That is to say, on the track. And that's the sprint. So we had sort of, a bit of... We had like all of the action at the end, bits and pieces at the start, but we just kind of had that middle area that was just like, why? And that'll wrap things up for the sprint round. It's set to be a 23-lap feature race. So despite things threatening to change the status quo, Jurg, other than Jurg not taking 5th on track due to penalties that may or may not be rescinded later, unofficially he is 6th, but on track he's 5th, and they just all finished in descending order of where they are on the championship table, minus that. As I continue to feel like I'm not even awake, I'll take a brief intermission while everybody gets the future race set up so that my throat isn't killing me by the end of the race. Alright, we are on the starting grid for the future race after I yawn a few more extra times because clearly I never woke up this morning. And we did have one new driver enter the ring. One Francisco Alonso, who will, I presume, start last. I believe representing Goat Inc. in that car. And, yeah, just kind of waiting for everybody to get their strategies and everything in place. You know, as per usual, I need a nap. It's too late for a nap. I feel like not awake at all. Ignore these faux red lights, because that is not what triggers the start of the race. Oh. You shouldn't be starting first. I'm confused. Unless it is top 10 flip, actually. That would, maybe it is, I don't remember, because we didn't have 10 last week, so I couldn't tell you. We didn't even have 8 last week, actually. And we still only barely have 10. But for Francisco Alonso will still be required to start in last, I think, because he didn't even start the first race of the weekend. Weekend, I say, as it is very obviously Monday, but you get the idea. But yeah, so I guess everybody except Francisco Alonso flips. So Ridwan will be the pole sitter going into feature. But all things considered, considering he's just trying to learn how to play the game properly, I don't think he'll stay there for too long. And he will probably be quickly usurped by somebody. Probably, it could very well just be Fabian, or failing that, somebody like Luke or Gabe. Point is, he's not going to be there by the end of lap 1, just simply because he's just not used to the game. Because we're now going night racing here from Laguna Seca. Don't let your headlights get broken, that's for sure. And the field bunches up. For the most part, a couple people are a little bit sloppy, like whoever that is out there that's deciding to get a bit of sand on their tires. And Ridwan is flooring it, and we are green for the feature round from Laguna Seca. He will be clear for braking into turn 1. They are 3 wide behind. Gabe, Jurgensmeyer, and Dylan Bam is around immediately. Is a multitude of cars, one of which is Ridwan, and Fidel spun in an isolated incident. So the lead is instead given to Luke Allen out of Sector 1, with Luis giving him a shove right off the circuit, and he will take the lead off of that, although that was probably lag, not actual contact. That'll still be enough to demote Luke Allen multiple positions down to outside of the podium spots, much less the lead. And that's like even more annoying, because it's like, you got wrecked by somebody that didn't actually hit you. So you can't get a penalty, you can't really get them to give you the spot back, because it didn't actually happen. I still remember there being multiple instances where we told Luis Ramirez he can't race with that lag. But he continues to lag, and yet he continues to race. It's much worse, I think, than the commentary screen really would indicate for the record. Like, there's lag going on there that's much worse than what we're able to see. Even though we are able to see lag through the broadcast cameras, it is very much worse, as Adrian Knickel has taken the lead already from Ramirez. 3 wide into turn 1, that's never gonna work. Matthew Daly is trying to send the car somewhere it doesn't fit, and we have discord into turn 1. That was... it was hideous, admittedly. There's no better word for that. That was just not it, Matthew. And so we are under safety car for this 4-car crash. Matthew thinks it's lap 23, not 3. And puts his Ford Falcon somewhere that Ford Falcons can't fit. And the rest, so they say, is history. I'm one of those commentators, I like to think. You know, I'm neutral, I'm 98% unbiased. The only thing I'm biased towards is a close championship fight, as rare as those are. Especially in the smaller series with less cars that people are less familiar with, like Supercars. But, when somebody does something bad, or I see something that I don't like, both as a steward, as a driver, and as a commentator throughout my time here in ARC, I will say so. That was not it, Matthew. That was just simply incorrect. It is the end of lap 2, so, or only the end of the second lap of green flag running, so mandatory pit stops don't count right now. As if AJ heard me say those words, he almost pits, but doesn't. But there are definitely drivers in the field that will have to pit from that, just because of the amount of damage they probably just took. Ironically enough, the car that's, I believe, is the reason that incident happened is apparently not too badly damaged, doesn't have to pit. Red One is pitting, and then Jurgensmeyer and Luke Allen definitely got damaged from that crash, so they have to pit to fix that. Did somebody come here and, like, splash some water in my face or something? I'm tired of yawning. Pun not intended. Will be green this time. Part of me wonders if anybody is going to try the patented Logan Cool strategy, because I believe you'd be able to pit at the end of this coming lap. You know, the end of the third lap since the start of the race. And pit, if that's even allowed, I don't remember. But we might see it if it is allowed. Somebody will just pit right here and get their mandatory done and just hope that there's another safety car. Oh my god. Yeah, like I said, we see the lag in the broadcast. It is definitely there as Luis's car attempts to create a hole in the space-time continuum. As AJ Knickel will take us to the green flag here, assuming there are no waved off restarts or anything. Looks as though we are good to go, so whenever AJ decides, which is immediately, we are green again from Laguna Seca. And he gets away very well. He's got a 7/10 in hand before we even reach Andretti Hairpin. Ramirez is keen to try and make some of that up under braking, but I don't know if the stewards, in-game stewards, are going to like that line. Everybody trickles in one after the other through the hairpin. I forgot what it was called somehow. I believe that's an overtake made by Gabe Cazzola. Crossover applied from Fidel Fabian. See where this goes as we head towards 5. Fidel tries the long way around. Gabe survives. He'll remain 4th place. Grid 1 gonna have to contend too wide with Luke Allen. They make contact right at the apex. And Grid 1 crashes so hard that the game camera doesn't even know where to look. That might have been lag, but at least from what the broadcast showed, that just kind of looked like Luke just turned into Grid 1 and off his car went. I can't really tell you whether that is what happened or not. I'm not on the racetrack. I'm not Rid 1. Only Rid 1 and Luke know what happened. I do know that Ramirez just slid right off the racetrack at the final turn, giving his teammate an easy berth to 2nd place. Matthew Daly looking to make his way back up the field after being involved, cause of the earlier crash, up to the back of Fidel Fabian at the moment. I anticipate, don't give it too long, Dylan Bam is going to be right there on the back of AJ Knickel, but for the moment, we may as well put our eyes elsewhere, as it hasn't really kicked off there just yet. There's dissonance, there's turmoil. People are not in the running order positions that they should be, so there's potential energy if we tap into it. And Matthew Daly just about tapped into Fidel's rear bumper. Is he gonna try and take a peek? No. Yes, no, he's not. His car's body language looked like he was gonna try something, but he didn't try anything. As anticipated, Dylan Bam is now officially there on the tail of AJ Knickel's race car. 4/10 behind, running a lap that most people would have loved to set in qualifying on a full fuel tank, pretty much, as he heads into turn 1. Nothing doing yet, but he's going to get a very good run from turn 2. Can he convert that going through 3? It is doable. He's going to get alongside AJ Knickel. This is for the race lead, but the long way around is unlikely to work in this sort of car. It just doesn't have the grip to hang there. Oh, nearly contact. AJ was just about an inch not clear. He had a splitter in it. Dylan's trying to find a lane to try and get down some side of AJ Knickel's machine, but he can't find it. Matthew Daly apparently made a mistake while I was watching the battle for the lead. He is back to 8th now. Clearly what I was saying in the sprint race has been completely disproven, as Matthew Daly is definitely making errors. But it would be a bigger mistake not to look at this battle for the lead, which AJ has to brake super late into the final turn just to stay in the lead. But he did it, and so he's there still. But Dylan Bam is definitely applying force. And Ramirez is not far away either. Oh, that's a very bad turn 1 for AJ. Dylan sneaks his car up there, but he's got to go the long way around at 3, because I think this is turn 3, and I'm just dumb. AJ still has the inside, but honestly here, could go either way at turn 4. Dylan has to hold the curb for dear life. This is going to decide who wins this battle right here. Can AJ stay on the outside? He cannot. Dylan Bam returns to the race lead, but he is not clear. AJ tries to stick a splitter there. Does he get the switchback? No. Does he switch back the other way? No. Does he brake super late? Yes. But not late enough. AJ will have to accept that for the time being. Unless he can get a really good penultimate turn. Which he is not doing that at the moment. He's getting a very bad third to last turn, and that's going to put him nowhere near within range of Dylan Bam. And even if he gets an almighty run out of the last turn, he's getting the opposite of that anyway. He nearly loses the car altogether. And so that is game over. But Luis lost it much worse. He lost a whole second, whereas AJ lost a couple of tenths to Dylan Bam. Luke Allen is the first to make a pit stop. And Jurgensmeyer will join him in the pit lane. They pit together under the caution, so now they're getting their mandatory done together as well. I see headlights, I see a destroyed AJ Knickel. He is around, and I see Dylan Bam's car there. I must have missed something crucial there. This is not the first time these two have come to blows this season, and I guess that's just what you get. That's not Dylan's car, that's Luis's, actually. So probably a battle for second, and that's given Dylan Bam a safety car. I don't know what I was about to say, it's giving him the easy lead. He has to stop, that's a safety car, 2-car crash. If only I had instant replay technology. I missed that because I thought that they were just going to hold station for a while, but I guess going through what I can only assume to happen was turn 4, Ramirez probably lag killed him. So, Yeah, even if I had seen the crash, it probably wouldn't have been an actual crash. It would have probably just been the ghosts of Ford Falcon's past wrecking AJ Knickel and taking Ramirez with. Ridwan was in the pits when this happened. He's only now... Well, he's still in there. I feel like he probably had just gone in as the yellow was waved, so I don't know. His future is in question marks right now. That's the law. I think you drove through too many pit boxes there, Dylan. It's a penalty. This race got turned around a little bit, because now guess who has the advantage? Luke Allen and Jurgensmeyer, who have just pit before this caution. They've taken their mandatories. They don't even need to pit again. And they will be given the race lead. And also Fidel Fabian, who has chosen not to pit on this instance as well. I believe he will be given second or third place because he stayed out. Luke Jurg's trying to get there. Lucas Oil. Okay, I guess Jurg is going to be stuck in the wrong lane now. I guess that's what we are doing. My voice is dying. I've got like a myriad of problems. Hungry, tired, thirsty, screaming, crying, throwing up. I've got like the human version of like all of the lights on the dashboard are turned on. Check engine light, change oil light, rear door ajar. Ugh, if only my eyes could stay ajar. Okay, so apparently Fidel Fabian didn't stay out because he's not being given third place or second. So I guess what must have just happened is he just had a really good pit stop. The game just blessed him with the fastest stop ever, and he finds himself in fourth. That, or he just here because he didn't have damage while other cars near the front like AJ and Luis do. Luis is not even here yet, so I don't think we're going green either. No, we are not. Plus, AJ now has to pit, apparently. Again. May have been run into under safety car. We usually wave restarts off for that. Ugh. Oh, I am. My body is not in gear. Ugh. It's a good thing the race has remained exciting for the most part, because otherwise I'd probably be in danger of dozing off again. I hate that it wouldn't even be the first time I've fallen asleep during commentary. Luke Allen has... I think Ericsson hit him. He has not lost the lead to that mistake, because he just kind of bounced off the wall, but I probably damaged his car, and certainly damaged his pride. If his car is that unstable at pace speeds, I can only imagine what it's like actually trying to race. And whenever Luke Allen chooses, which is, again, immediately, we are once more green from Laguna Seca. And now we get to watch Luis and AJ make their way back up to the front. Starting with one another, as ill-advised as that may be. Oh, Ramirez just ships it down the inside of Alonso, who kind of just lays over for the 2 leaders, probably for the best, admittedly. But Matthew Daly, he's not going to just move for Ramirez. Because he is a front-running car stuck in the back from earlier mistakes, just like those 2 are. So he's trying to make his way back up the field no more than anybody else back there is. Pridwan is the one who's sort of out of his depth right now. He's again, still very much a newborn baby right now in comparison to everybody else in the field. He's still trying to figure out how to operate this machine. Oh, Gabe shoving Fidel off, and then it's absolute chaos heading on to Rahal. AJ is forced into the sand. There's contact. Luis's leg clobbered another vehicle, and there is another 4-car accident caused by the internet of a nation that's several miles apart from everybody else. It's not really Luis's fault that he has that leg. Venezuela's kind of a poor country, if I'm not mistaken, so they cannot afford a seamless internet. And that is another safety car brought to you by... I don't know where I was going with that joke. Brought to you by Luis Ramirez's front bumper. I was going to actually name a sponsor, and then I got paralysis of choice and ended up saying absolutely nothing. So yeah, our third caution of the race, halfway through the event, at the exact halfway mark, from us. And, I mean, that one. It's just, I don't know, that one was kind of a weird one to pin blame on, because the cars were only that bunched up because Gabe got bad understeer and shoved Fidel off at the kink. That checked up all of the other faster cars behind the 2 of them. And then the rest was history. If Gap car, and I guess everybody maintained their status as racing drivers, but instead wrecked their cars. However, it seems like everybody's repair time has been much shorter this go around, so we should be green this lap. Luis's car looks like it has been through a can crusher. Not even a can crusher, a car crusher. Wrong consonant. And he's already back with the field, so we could probably bring it up to 60. I figure if Luke wouldn't mind. Yep, there we go. They can hear me! That is, of course, a lie. They cannot. I'm in a party, all on my own. Luke, please don't let Ericsson hit you again. I will not be so humorous the second time around. Normally I would say it's Laguna Seca, how hard can it be to warm your tires, but we're racing in late autumn in the game, so the track temp, especially now at night, is not that high. So, yeah, I can kind of see why he's weaving the tires like that. It's just really scaring me, because it looks like any second that car is going to go the extra inch and just spin. And here we come up to the take the green flag once more. Luke is delaying it for all it's worth. Now he is green, as is everybody else. That is how the field works, yes. Didn't really get a huge advantage. Jurgensmeyer and Dylan Bam, for that matter, were both ready. Dylan tries the outside immediately, but it'll actually be Jurgensmeyer who's making overtakes. Possibly. He's going to get ahead of Luke for all but a second. Can he get back around? No, he can't. As we look to the middle of the field where all of the chaos is taking place. AJ around the outside. He is not around the outside. A huge hit for Ridwan. Driven to the side by Francisco Alonso, who had absolutely no place to go. And guess what? You've got another big crash caused, I believe, by Luis's leg. If not Luis himself this time, because he was definitely close enough to have caused contact. With or without lag. Oh my lord! Alright, fourth caution. Fourth caution, who pits? Obviously the ones that were in that crash. This is starting to look like an NASCAR race. You're stuck in the back of the field, you just get caught in caution after caution, and you can't make your way back up because you're getting caught in more and more cautions. And trust me, I would know. Out of all people, because I never got out of the back. Time for a quick stretch. Sat here for half an hour or so already. More than that, actually. This race has already been half an hour. Not to mention the sprint and everything. Actually, how long have I been here for? It's like the broadcast timer. Wrong button. Alright. Yeah, already an hour and 5 minutes into the broadcast, and we've still got 10 to go. At this point last week, I believe we were close to ending the broadcast. I think around an hour and 5 mark last week, I was like interviewing the podium finishers. Now hour and 5 mark, and we have 9.5 laps to go, and we're under caution for the 4th time this evening. Things change. I just pulled an earbud out of my head trying to move around in my chair. What's wrong? Jurgensmeyer asks. What do you think? I'm here to commentate a race, not caution laps. Well, we should be green this time. Let's see if we can keep it that way. Man, Alonso really had a long pit stop. He's only just now getting up to the back of the field, and we're going to have to go green in a moment, so he's not going to have much time to think, or get ready, or anything of the sort. Third time, whenever Luke Allen decides he will go, is when we will go. Like if I'm him, I just floor it as soon as I get out of the final turn, because that has worked better for every restart. And indeed, we are green once more, and oh yeah, Luke definitely got a better jump, but Jurgensmeyer has slipstream, and better straight line speed apparently. Not enough. Dylan Bam's gonna send it on the outside again. I'm getting deja vu. This time we do all make it through turn 1, relatively okay. I see no cars flying through the air, so I guess that's a win. Jurgensmeyer defending from Dylan Bam into turn 3. Got the Gran Turismo 7 AI maneuvers on lockdown, does Jurgensmeyer, but I guess if it keeps him back there, it keeps him back there. Battle for 4th ongoing. Gabe versus Ramirez. And the two teammates at 44R, 2 wide behind them. That's going to have to get settled out pretty quickly. And AJ, yeah, wisely decides not to do that. Ramirez is around. He probably could have done what AJ did and not fought into turn 1. Turn 1, the kink. Battle for 2nd. Jurgensmeyer is still fighting for his life against the sprint race winner of Dylan Bam. AJ Knickel advances ahead of Gabe Cazzola in the background of that. Oh, and Gabe is loose on the exit of the penultimate turn. Gifts Matthew Daly a position in the process. And now it is Knickel versus Bam. This time for real, and I'm not just, accidentally blaming the wrong car. AJ has the inside lane. Oh, but he gets very squirrely on the entrance to the corner. In the background, meanwhile, contact was made with, I think, one of the braking boards. And so, therefore, AJ is able to get ahead of Dylan Bam in spite of a bit of elbows out. Max Verstappen overtakes there. And now they're both running down Jurgensmeyer. Fight for your life, boy! Fight for your right to party. Or stay on 2nd place, at least. I don't know about party. I don't think we can take that right away from you. But AJ can certainly try and take 2nd away from you. You let your guard down. He might be letting his guard down. No, he's putting it up, actually. He's going all the way to the inside lane. And he is hanging on. And Luke Allen is loving every bit of it, I would say. Because he's getting ahead, little by little, the longer Jurgensmeyer fights these two. Some would even say he's fighting them as if he were a lion. That's a pitiful exit for AJ Knickel. Dylan Bam will be keen to take advantage. Can he get a lane on him, though? AJ's hugging the inside lane to protect it. Oh, nearly contact at the apex. AJ brakes way too late to try and stay ahead. That might end up just costing him the spot in the long run if he's not careful. But he will manage to stay there with the inside lane for the moment. Luke Allen really is not getting away like I thought he'd be at the moment, either. I thought he'd be having the time of his life, getting like 2-3 seconds up the road. He's only just over a second ahead. If Jurgensmeyer can eliminate these two from his mind and just focus on the road ahead, he could probably reel him in himself. And by the looks of what the gap is doing, I think he's doing exactly that as we speak. Down to less than a second between the pair, the first and second. There's a 4-car battle for the lead starting to brew here. And a middling corkscrew for Jurgensmeyer. But I don't know how you just took the corner like that. What the heck? Apparently that was still slower than Luke did. I'm like trying to watch two battles at the same time. Luckily these wide sweeping shots are making that possible, but it's still very difficult to do. Meanwhile, there is a battle for 8th. Matthew Daly trying to find a way by Francisco Alonso. Not a whole lot going on. Every time I switch to AJ's car, thing just looks so miserable. Oh, contact made. AJ barely keeps that car straight. Although it didn't really look like there was contact, but the way that AJ's car reacted, there kind of had to be some. And that's given... That random moment has given Jurgensmeyer some much-needed breathing room. He's got about a second and a half ahead of these two now. And Gabe Cazzola is sneaking up in the background for 5th place. If he can stay, if he can get within striking distance, that might put some pressure on Dylan Bam, force him into an error, maybe collect the AJ, and so he doesn't cause a caution. Gift Gabe more places. In a perfect world if you're Gabe, I suppose, but never deny the possibility. It's also possible that Jurgensmeyer will definitely catch Luke Allen. He's about 6-7 tenths back as we head on to the take 5 to go. That's how numbers work. Yep. I'm about to say the 5th from last lap, which, I mean, that's not wrong, it just doesn't really roll off the tongue, you know? And we have a caution. For what reason? There must be debris on the track. There are no signboards to my recollection, so it's not like we knock one of those onto the road, but that is a last-second caution that's going to turn everything feral in the run to the finish line. Honestly, my throat recover. I guess I'll do interviews and sponsors after this. It's not even like I'm done the second we get the checkered flag. I'm not even done talking yet. But I'm out of water. I drank all of it before the stream started, like an idiot. And now I have none left. That is... Yep, that's how that works. I drank all of the water, so I have no water. Yeah, that is... quantifiable. Yeah. No duh. Any last chance pit stops? I'd be quite surprised. Actually, now that I say that, yeah, I knew there were at least a couple of cars that had some damage. So, yeah, we do have last-second pit stops, indeed. This is going to be a very interesting, what should be final 3 laps. There will be no more cautions from this point forward, as we're going to run out of laps to do so. What do those cones do to you? Where is AJ? Oh my god, why is AJ being shown as the car in the lead? That's not correct. There we go. He's still not second. There we go. Dumb game. Why was I hearing that so close? You were just hearing Matthew leave the pits, I think, but it sounded like he was next to the camera, which is literally not possible. One more yawn for the road. Let's maybe stop that now. Have to commentate a race finish here real quick. So, for what should be... What for should be, yep. English is my first language and only language, I swear. For what will most likely be the final restart of the race, barring something crazy like a skipped caution sequence. We are about to take the green flag for the final time here. Whenever Luke Allen decides to gas. He's gassed. Apparently, that's the new verb. And we are green from Laguna Seca. 3 laps to go to decide the winner here in the feature round. Juergensmeyer sneaks his bumper there and uses basic physics to get down the inside of Luke Allen, essentially. But hanging on the outside is very difficult. In spite of that, Juergensmeyer is certainly trying. He has to do it twice, though, and the second time is even more difficult if he somehow did it the first. AJ Kanickel left with nowhere to go. He's trying to just keep Dylan away, too, which makes things even more difficult, obviously. He can't really attack one without remaining vulnerable to the other, so he just has to settle into the sandwich and see what transpires from there. Things to look at all over the running order. Let's see what happens to the corkscrew. Nothing of note. Okay. Relatively calm, considering the track, the corner's notoriety. It's all on the exit, though. Juergensmeyer with the bit of exit oversteer he did not need. AJ is about to try and take advantage. Still too wide. Big contact. They're hooked together. Oh, and around goes the Canadian driver. Juerg is fine. But AJ has been destroyed. Probably more so egotistically than physically. The car didn't really take a lot of damage from that. So now it is going to be a battle for the win between Dylan Bam and Luke Allen. Certainly not the battle for the lead I expected to be commentating an hour ago. He's got to hold on against the fastest car on the track for a lap and change. Sillier things have happened. I don't want to say he can't, but I don't want to say that he will either. It is a very tall order for anybody not on 44R or Champ Incorporated to hold off this guy this year. And the way that Dylan is just eating him alive through some of these turns, it is not looking pretty. A defensive line into the corkscrew, I mean, that'll certainly help to keep Dylan away, but I don't think he was really close enough even if he wanted to. Even if he thought he could pass there, he couldn't. Uno mas from Dry Lagoon. Luke Allen's hung on for one of the 2 laps. Just needs to do one more, and he will be the winner, obviously. In case you didn't know how a motor race works, let me explain it for you. Another defensive line into one, but the brakes don't like it. And now he's forced the long way around. Dylan Bam is just gonna easily take that back. He's gonna get the race lead. Luke has failed. He tried a little too much into turn 1 to try and keep Dylan Bam away. But, that just isn't it. Battle for third as well. Juergensmeyer versus Cazzola. Juerg trying to get back up there after his contact with AJ. He's gonna... I don't know how he got that stopped. He basically didn't get it stopped, and so Gabe Cazzola crosses him back over. A bumper administered by Ramirez to try and steal 4th away. That won't be enough, though. Corkscrew, nothing eventful at the front, so we'll look back to the upper mid-pack. I think Dylan Bam has it in hand. He's only got 2 more corners to make. Luke is there. It's not like he completely lost him, but he's not really ahead of him either, obviously. Off the track is somebody. That would be Ramirez. Is being swarmed by 44R. Final turn. Dylan Bam is going to take the victory. Luke Allen has to settle for second after missing the first turn of the final lap. Ramirez leaves the circuit again. It's a drag race across the line. And it looks like it gave it to Juerg on track for second place. Or, no, third. Matt. Who is where? Oh my lord, penalties are going crazy. Luke had a big penalty, but I don't think that'll stand. So it is Dylan Bam and then Luke Allen. And then I believe it gave it to Juergensmeyer. I don't even know what to look at, because like half the field is penalties that probably won't happen. But looking at the differences there, yeah, if you ignore Gabe's 2-second penalty, that is a 4,000th difference. Juergensmeyer has stolen that podium. That's the wrong button. Now I shall invite the broadcaster's party, wherever it is, there it is, and just let all the podium finishers trickle in as they do. I said... I did invite them, didn't I? I did.
Where Riker?
I'm just waiting for everybody to get here. Whoever everybody is, because the penalties have scrambled everything around. I don't remember who finished where. I think we're just waiting on Luke. Unless he joined and it didn't tell me. No. I'm not waiting forever for him. So.
I say just go for it. I don't know if he's coming.
So I guess we will start now instead with the driver who just took third in the feature on track, Juergensmeyer, having just had that drag race to the line with Gabe that I almost missed. I guess the main thing for you, Jurgen, all of those restarts, having to defend like crazy, I was seeing. But towards the very end, were you more focused on taking the lead or hanging on to second place?
Well, I knew I had the pace to beat Luke, but Luke was getting good restarts. I couldn't really keep up with him, but I knew that if I could defend Dylan and AJ and they start fighting, then I could focus on Luke more, that I'd have a chance of winning. So that's why I was defending so hard. I mean, it was working against Dylan. Me and AJ made contact, and that killed him. But I mean, I was focused on Luke when they were fighting behind me. But yeah, I was worried about defending, and I think I did fine defending besides that one moment. But yeah.
And I mean that worked for a bit until the safety car came out. It was you and Luke half a second apart. What was that for, by the way? Was there like debris somewhere?
Another flip.
Oh, I completely missed that then.
Yeah, it was Ridwan.
Oh, that would explain it.
He rolled over a curb.
Stupid sausage curbs. Well, Luke just joined, so I guess we'll get to him, because I'm apparently doing this in reverse chronological order. So, Luke's second in the feature race here. Nearly had the full victory, but well, I mean, I think we all kind of know what went wrong. But what was your perspective on? I know this probably crushes you to be asked this, but how you lost the race?
Yeah, it's just the cars are just really loose under braking. At least for me, I don't know if that means I'm braking too hard. But if I don't brake harder, I get past anyways. So yeah, I just got loose on entry, and then he got to my outside. Had half a thought to shove him off the track, but I didn't. And then he just had the inside for the next corner, And he's faster than me, so there's one much I could do at that point.
Yeah, sometimes it really is just that simple. Just doing too much. But I mean, you still got second place. I imagine, probably better than you expected, considering the pace of the champ in 44 cars this season. But the champ cars, that's something completely different. Champ Inc. You know what I mean. Was there a reason you would pit early, or was that just for the sole belief that there would be a safety car that would get you back to the front?
No, in the first race, I had trouble passing people. I think I got stuck behind Fidel, and I ended up making a mistake behind him. The same corner too, turn one. Just got loose on entry. So when I was playing the pit even earlier, but then like I got past a few cars easily, and then once I got caught up to Fidel, I'm like, I'm just gonna pit before I get fully like stuck behind him. It just got really lucky, honestly. I mean, I really shouldn't be this upset, because I really didn't deserve to be in that position in the first place. But you gotta take the opportunities when they come, because they don't come very often for me. So, but
I hear that one.
I should be used to it.
I hear that one. Registered person who ran out of fuel at Spa in GT7. Me and several others. But I will skip back to the sprint race. I think it was Ramirez third. So got caught in a couple of incidents in the future race. He had a good sprint round, but I mean, the sprint round was kind of just business as usual for everybody in the top four. Made the one mistake? I don't even remember. My memory is amazing, I swear. But as for Ramirez in the feature, I take it that a couple of incidents, like I missed the one that happened with you and AJ in the second right-hander in the feature. Was that just the classic leg impact, or was that actually a mistake?
So I was actually quite far behind AJ. Sorry, I was actually quite far behind AJ, and he spun in front of me.
No.
And I think he got on the brakes too late, so the car snapped back to the racing line, and I just had nowhere to go, no time to react.
Well, I guess it was a mistake. So this was the second answer. Yeah, I didn't really see that happen. I just kind of clipped the camera back to third place, and I was like, oh, there's a wrecked car. Oh, there's two wrecked cars. And I'm trying to think where you actually finished on track in the feature race.
He was, yeah.
Oh, so you were just that.
Basically, no, also in the feature race, it was the lag got pretty bad. So in the final corner, I was fifth, and then in my screen, I know this didn't happen really. In my screen, AJ should just bound me out of the track, even though he was nowhere near me, actually. So yeah, it was just the lag.
Yeah, I saw your car run off in the corner of my screen when I was watching the drag race to the line, but I didn't really get the context. So I was too busy screaming at Gabe versus Jurg. So.
Yeah, after. Oh, by the way, I have a question for you. Actually, did you see the last lap battle for the podium in the sprint race?
Yeah, I did. That's why I was kind of like, wait, who made the mistake that started that? But I did see that. Yeah.
That was spun completely offline.
Yeah, I was just out there trying to remember because I'm just like that race was kind of the sort of race that I just sort of forgot happened because not much happened after like lap 3 until that mistake. And then speaking of the top few, second place in the sprint, but clearly got a bit of the ARC NASCAR effect. Mr. AJ Knickel. He just got stuck in the bottom. I suppose, wasn't it?
What do you mean, like at?
Oh, because he got involved in a crash, and that puts you at the back of the field, and it was just
Oh yeah,
impossible
yeah.
to.
You're right. I understand what you mean now. Yeah, in the sprint went really smoothly. Really smoothly actually. I had enough of a gap built up with in the last lap. I was able to try and push for fastest lap, which is why you saw so many little half spins at the end of that. I was trying to figure some stuff out. But the last going off in the feature, I just nothing would go right in that one. I was defending against Dylan. It was like lap 4 or something. And I knew with his pace in the sprint I had to keep him behind me, and he got by me, and I was like, okay, I probably after like 8 laps can match his pace or so, and then maybe try and reel him in, and I just gave it too much and spun, and unfortunately rolled back across the track. I thought I braked soon enough to not have the car roll and lock up the brake, but it seemed like I just rolled backwards across the track in front of Luis. So then that was a big repair job, and repaired that, got it back going again, and then the next lap I got involved in somebody else's wreck, and then got that repaired, and then we had another safety car in which I was also involved again. Then I finally started to make some progress, and I made a really good move up the inside on that next restart. I think it was the 3rd or 4th restart, and I got up to 4th, and I was around the outside of Ridwan. About to make the move for 3rd and get right up there behind. It was only Jurg and Luke ahead of me at that point. It was like 10 to go. I thought that put me in a really good position. And then Luis lagged into Ridwan, which Ridwan then drove into me, and I spun. So back to the back of the pack again. And then
Seeing a common denominator here.
yeah, and then at the end, I again fought my way back up to the front, and I got wiped by Jurg, unfortunately. Made a good move. He made a mistake. He got a little loose on power, and I went up the inside in the penultimate corner. And I don't know if he dropped it on the corner exit, but I left him like 2 car widths, and he got into my side, and we got hooked together. And I thought he'd back out of it, because like it's my only chance of saving the car, right? And from there, I had nothing to save the car at all. It was just gone at that point. So that was basically my race at that point. Reeled it back to 5th at the end because of Luis. I guess you could call it a bit of a get back, since I got lagged into. I guess I lagged into him, so I guess that's just kind of what happened. But
The law of equivalent exchange.
yeah, I got back up to 5th at the end, luckily. So I mean, still not a bad points day, but it sucks because I know had I gotten by Jurg in that corner, I could have got by Luke, and then from there, I would have won easily, because at that point I would have had a gap built up. I would have had Jurg between me and Dylan, and then by the time that Dylan would have got by Jurg, I would have already been by Luke. So it would have been a race win. It kind of sucks, but it is what it is.
Yeah, coulda, shoulda, woulda. And like I speak from experience, and I mentioned stuck at the bottom. Like I compared it to ARC NASCAR and how often it would happen that I would have some amount of pace, but I'd just get caught up in incidents. And
Yeah, I hate to sit here with like a P, P2 and a P5 and go, woe is me, but it feels like I can't get any luck lately, like across any series. Like Super Formula, we were having a good run, and I dropped it in the wall in turn 2. I guess the wall has like a spot there that if you touch it, it just like digs your front wheel into it, because me and Ridwan and Frenchie all did the same thing. So that was a bad one. And I mean, I've had a couple other races in the last little bit where it's just been silly little stuff. So I mean, yeah, just frustrated. It's been a kind of a shit month. So
we're on stream, man. Give me a break. But I'm glad there's always somebody to fill in the blanks for me. But I guess we'll now look to our sweeping winner here from Laguna Seca. Dylan Bam had basically another day in the office in the sprint race, but a little more testy in the feature. that final restart, what was sort of your game plan to get to the lead, or did you just kind of decide, no, we'll just see where this goes from here?
Well, I was gonna try and pass AJ at some point, but he kept trying to lock in on Jurg and get by him, and I'm not gonna, try and take something 3 wide here. Not here. That'd just be a death sentence. So really, I just had to wait for them to take each other out, and thankfully they did, and then that opened the window for me to go and win the race.
Yeah, I mean, the door is basically just open for you. Jurg and AJ got together, and then Luke missed turn 1, so it was just kind of by way of default for the future. Very, very, very clearly opposite moods between, or very opposite stances between that and AJ, who claims he can't get any luck, and then Dylan, who I don't want to say had the win handed to you, but the Red Sea definitely parted. So, but yeah, I can't think of anything to comment on the sprint race either, because that really was just like the top 4 being the top 4. And the one battle amongst them that did happen was not between you. So I guess with that in mind, that'll wrap things up for our driver comments. And today's ARC action over. Sincere appreciation goes to our sponsors. Their commitment, belief, and monetization to the league fuel what we've just witnessed today. On cautions and everything. DIVEBOMB Motorsport, ARC's premier / title sponsor, a collaborative new media project made by motorsports fans and for motorsports fans. SimLeaguePro.com, or SLP, the league management partner of AutoRacingConnected, a forum-based site where you can find, organize, or schedule racing leagues, and that's what ARC uses to do all of the points. To SimWrap Market, iRacing's largest marketplace of professional-level livery designs, templates, custom graphics, number sets, etc. for sim racers. To IMB Racewear, ARC's sim racing apparel sponsor. Boots, sim racing gloves, and others can be found on their site, all with pristine quality and precision engineering. To the Racing Rats, our Assetto Corsa modding partners, who put out high-quality mods for free. They've been working closely with ARC to host Assetto Corsa's league races. And finally, to James McAdam Photography and AJ Canonical Design, our photography and graphic design partners, respectively. But with that in mind, that will wrap things up for the Laguna Seca Supercars race. I think that is us done with the states in V8 Supercars. So until next week, goodbye.